Sky rockets in flight. We have a cruiserweight fight, and this ain't no regular season fight. This is to crown the inaugural cruiserweight champion. Our two competitors are the number one ranked Marcos, aka Midnight Rider, finishing the season with 10 wins and 2 losses, facing number 2, Erin, aka Big Lewinski, finishing the season with 9 wins and 3 losses. Marcos is playing as Ted Cruz in the dark red there, and Erin Lewinski playing as Richard Nixon in the orange. Excited to see this fast-paced cruiserweight action and to see who will be crowned the inaugural cruiserweight champion. Let's see. Big Conservative entered there by Midnight Rider. Meanwhile, Big Lewinski going into the Old South, pipping into 5 Old South states, as well as entering into Youth Vote. Let's check out the bonuses here that these two are fighting for. Big Conservative, that's 20%. So that'll be a decent-sized bonus there, $60K for Marcos. Meanwhile, we have a 20% boost in Youth Vote, so that'll be around 32K there. These two players split their season series of 2 games, 1 win for Midnight Rider, 1 win for Big Lewinski. I think it is so appropriate that this season 1 matchup finishes between these two, as Big Conservative is to the 4th, and there is 60K. Meanwhile, Lewinski going for the Old South bonus instead of getting that Youth Vote. I think that's a good move. She gets that Old South bonus, 60K there for Midnight Rider, 60K for Lewinski. And Lewinski will look to pick up that Youth Vote bonus here and see if she can also maintain the Old South, as you saw Midnight Rider challenge into Virginia and North Carolina. These two have been amazing sportsmen throughout this first season of the 270 Competitive League, and on this Inauguration Day championship event, I can't think of 2 better players, 2 better cruiserweights to face off to see who can be our first cruiserweight champion. If you hear music in the background, it is because I am calling this matchup in my car underneath the roof of a Holiday gas station. It was not my plan to call the game in my car, but here we are. As Lewinski pips into Alabama, Arizona, Florida both entered, but advantage Midnight Rider as he 2 pips and gets set up for Swing State. As he enters into PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, Youth Vote there, there's 30K gained for Lewinski. So she has now 90K in bonuses to 60K for Midnight Rider. Midnight Rider is looking to get that Swing State bonus. I don't think he will be able to get it on this turn, so look for Lewinski to challenge some of those swing states and block and postpone that Swing State bonus. Speaking of postponement, the reason I am at a gas station calling this game is I was supposed to be up north already, visiting a friend. It is my spring break, but we are in the middle of a snowstorm right now. And so it is taking me about 3 times as long to get there, and these guys are ready to play their game, and I was ready to take a break from the clenching my teeth and clenching my fists driving that I've been doing. So I got a jumbo soda, Diet Mountain Dew with a splash of cherry, and we're calling this matchup. Let's see what turn 4 brings. Arizona to the 3rd, Florida to the 3rd, Iowa pipped into Maryland to the 3rd, Michigan pressure there from Lewinski. North Carolina, we got a swipe, a big-time swipe from the Midnight Rider, swiping North Carolina. And I believe that will take away the Old South bonus for now. It does. A big-time swipe there by Marcos, the Midnight Rider, taking away Old South for now. But that was a good turn for the Big Lewinski there, pressuring into Michigan. saving a little bit here, making her next move a little unpredictable. Does she go for the gutsy swipe of Florida? She has enough to get actually 2 pips ahead if she wanted to, as Marcos likely will go for these other swing states to try to lock that in. It might not be a bad time to go for that swipe, but Marcos swiping North Carolina may distract Big Lewinski from making a move like that. Let's see. D.C. entered by Nixon. Oh, it looks like Lewinski is going to get set up in New York. She is. Pennsylvania to the 3rd for Marcos, as Lewinski looks to gain back Old South. Virginia, another big Old South swipe there from Marcos, as he picks up 114.5K in swing bonus. Meanwhile, Big Lewinski able to get that Old South bonus back for the time being. So instead of going the Florida swipe route, you see Lewinski going to New York, trying to beat Midnight Rider there to that AA bonus. Nixon does have a 10% deficit in his Town and Gown and 15% high tech, so not ideal that she has to move up there. But I respect the decisiveness, not just playing chase there with Midnight Rider, wanting to get set up here, and still has a chance, could make a move later, especially if she can be the first one with Nixon to pick up that AA bonus. Alabama to the 3rd, D.C. to the 3rd, Minnesota to the 3rd, Mississippi entered. North Carolina is locked in by the Midnight Rider. We're going to see New York picked up. Ooh, and we're going to see an entrance into Texas already by Midnight Rider, as he also locks up Virginia. Interesting choice there. Interesting choice, because now a great move there by the Big Lewinski, as she picks up 100K in AA bonus and 67.5 in Town and Gown. Excuse me. I think it might have been kind of an early move there by Midnight Rider to go to Texas. I've made that mistake many of times, because now Lewinski has a chance here to kind of tear through some of these states that are still vulnerable, like Michigan. She's got a hold of Arizona. She can go to Illinois with that AA. She can even go for a Florida swipe. You probably would have wanted to see Midnight Rider go for a little bit more there in the early on in that classic Old South swing state and AA battle. We'll see what he does here. He does, however, lock up North Carolina and Virginia. Very curious to see how this next turn plays out. Arizona pressured from Midnight Rider. He kind of low spent this round. Defense in Florida, but nothing going. Pressure in Georgia, so he is just applying pressure, kind of taking a step back. Michigan to the 4th by the Big Lewinski, as she pressures into Pennsylvania, still getting set up for high tech. I like that turn by the Big Lewinski. I also like the move from Midnight Rider to slow down and save a little bit after entering into Texas, realizing that he's got some unfinished business to do here on the East Coast, pressuring in to Georgia and Louisiana and Arizona. If you hear that scraping sound, that's a plow going by, plowing this gas station parking lot. We are in the elements here for this cruiserweight matchup, called from a random small town in central/north central Minnesota. So far, the EV count very close, but things are starting to steamroll a little bit in the favor of Big Lewinski, as she's up 3 state groups to 1. But we have a nice 1 pip ahead swipe there by Midnight Rider. Ooh, a big time clash in California. Did not see that coming. Both competitors spend $400K in California. Massachusetts to the third. Michigan defense, nothing going there. Utah to the third. And Wisconsin to the third from Midnight Rider. Wow. I did not expect either competitor to go into California. Not only did they go there, they both 2-pipped. That's $800K wiped from the game combined there. Interesting move. You would have thought that Lewinski was going to first get this high-tech bonus that she is so very close to getting, but she needs to just get Delaware and hold the other states to get that high-tech. You would have thought that maybe Midnight Rider would have spent that in Texas instead, but he was kind of possibly going for a 3-corner attack there, trying to get California, Texas, and Florida. Shout out to all the snowplow drivers out there, keeping me safe so far on this drive. After this matchup, I'll finish up the drive. And after this matchup, we will have our first 270 Competitive League Cruiserweight Champion. Turn 9, here we go. Oh, Arizona trying to be swiped back, but it is locked by Midnight Rider. They both enter into California again. This time 2 pips ahead goes Marcus. Some states defended there. Washington entered, I believe, high-tech bonus. Yes is picked up, $85K there. So an interesting position now as Marcos has 2-1 lead, pip lead in California. He's 1 pip into Texas. If he plays his cards right, this could work out. But if I'm Erin, a.k.a. Big Lewinski, I'm considering looking at that Florida swipe. If you're saving up your AA money, but she could definitely be kind of focused on gaining back control of California now that she has that high-tech bonus. I think Marcos kind of saw that he was losing the early battle, and instead of sitting on it too long, he locked up some key states with Virginia, North Carolina, and Arizona, and is now looking to spread out and kind of go the Cali, Texas route. But he does not have enough money to lock it up now. He does get California to the third. He does put 1 pip in Florida in case Erin locks up Georgia. She enters into Illinois. Iowa's to the third. New Hampshire pressure there from Midnight Rider, and Tennessee entered as well. So California to the third does get Midnight Rider a bonus. I was just going to say, I don't know if he got a bonus from that, but he does get agriculture for $65K. And that agriculture bonus will now help him get Texas as well. So his 3-corner attack could work here. If I am the Big Lewinski, I have to notice that 3-corner is potentially coming, and you might have to consider going all in on Florida, but that is a big risk. It definitely is not impossible to win the game with only New York, especially if she could spread out here into other states and put the pressure on Marcos to catch up. She has a cash lead of over $300K. But right now they are dead even. These two cruiserweights are dead even at 193 EVs each. So far we are getting that fast-paced, competitive action that we've seen in this cruiserweight division. And now we are seeing in this final match of Season 1 on Inauguration Day, as the timer gets to 10 seconds or less. This is what makes being a cruiserweight difficult, is you got to make moves quickly. You can lose your turn. Do we see a lost turn here that could sway the whole momentum of the game? I think we might. As the timer is stuck there, I think someone missed their turn. Yes, Erin, aka the Big Lewinski, did miss her turn. Pressure into a bunch of other states. New Hampshire swiped. Texas, that's a huge turn for the Midnight Rider. As Erin loses high tech after missing her turn, Marcos gains Latino, oil and gas, manufacturing, and export. A heartbreaking turn of events for the Big Lewinski. She does have a ton of money here to come back on this next turn. You'd have to assume at this point she has to go all in on Florida to take away at least a couple of those state bonuses gained. See if she can get her turn off on this next turn and maybe turn that mistake of missing that turn into a positive. Now that she has saved up all of this money, can she turn it into a positive with a huge turn 12 here coming up? California, big money spent there by Midnight Rider in California. Lewinski defending Louisiana, locking that up, and Illinois earlier. Michigan, a massive spend and a massive swipe by Midnight Rider in Michigan. Meanwhile, a swipe back of New Hampshire and lock from Big Lewinski. As Lewinski pressures into Texas, interesting move. So now Lewinski is pressured in all four. But another bonus picked up by Midnight Rider with high tech. Lewinski does not go the Florida route, at least on that turn. But now that she has lost Michigan, Pennsylvania, she could try to go for the swipe, but Marcos has that high tech bonus now. Let's see. She has that AA money. Will she go for Florida and take away a couple of those bonuses now that Marcos has picked up? But if Marcos is able to successfully have a huge Florida block, that could be the dagger in the Big Lewinski's chances of winning this, and could be the moment that wins this for Marcos. Let's see. We do have action in Florida. 900K spent. Ooh, no action, though, from Lewinski, as she brings Missouri to the third, North Dakota to the third. Pressure New York. Pennsylvania, there is the Pennsylvania swipe. So instead, ooh, and that pressure is working. Good moves there by Lewinski, ignoring my noise that she can't even hear and saying, you know what, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to go for the home run ball in Florida. She's smart that she did not, because it probably would have been blocked there. Instead, she's in the head of Midnight Rider, as he has been forced to defend California, Texas, and Florida, causing him not to move around the map. And right now, an EV lead is growing for the Big Lewinski, but Marcus does smartly pressure in New York. But a huge move from Lewinski getting high tech back, because that is going to make that swipe in New York not as possible. Hopefully Lewinski looks and sees well. Marcos' swing doesn't help him. Export could help him. Agriculture doesn't help him. And so export and Latino plus his raw cash that he has could help him with the New York swipe. But if you're Big Lewinski, you don't want to spend too much in defending that. And instead, I would at this turn maybe even look to bring it to the ballot, because Marcus could lock in Florida. If you get those other states, bring it to the ballot. You're the first ever Cruiserweight champion. It's been a very interesting matchup. As the clock winds down, hopefully players get their turns off. Turn 14. Did they do it? They did get their turns off. Alaska entered. Ooh, are we seeing the ballot? Well, if we do see a ballot attempt, that was blocked, at least for the time being. I think we are going to see a ballot attempt. And I love this move from the Big Lewinski. Even though it was blocked, you're putting immense pressure on Midnight Rider here to counteract. Midnight Rider did the smart thing and save. And he did block the ballot here now in a couple places, a huge block there in New Jersey, another big block in New Mexico. So you're seeing a battle over those Latino states, in Ohio as well. So this isn't going to be, and in Oklahoma, it's not going to be as close to a ballot as Erin would have liked. But she did not spend a ton of money. She did not bite on the pressure in New York. Instead, she entered into a bunch of states and grew that EV count big time, gaining 65 EVs and pushing her over 270 for the time being at 286. Meanwhile, Marcus, aka Midnight Rider, is at 195. Marcus now, though, after that turn and with all those bonuses, at almost 1.5 million. Now, Lewinski could be put in a situation where she's feeling a little more stressed to defend New York. At the same time, Marcos has to be aware of the ballot on this turn, probably entering into other states that Erin did last turn. It's going to be harder and harder to get turns off, but they did. Yep, there's pressure in Alaska. Arkansas to the third. Colorado goes to Marcus. Connecticut, a swipe, goes to Marcus. Delaware pressure. Pressure there in Hawaii. Idaho to the third, pressure there. Illinois nearly locked in by Lewinski as she brings Indiana to the third. Pressure in Iowa. Kansas brought to the third. Kentucky brought to the third. Pressure in Maine. Montana brought to the third. Pressure in North Dakota. Nebraska. So Lewinski spending that money. Ooh, a big-time swipe in Nevada, a state that holds. Ooh, and it goes to Lewinski. New Mexico goes to Lewinski as well as Ohio. Can she get that Latino bonus? Oh, my goodness, but we have a massive, massive swipe by the Midnight Rider, locking in Pennsylvania. Lewinski almost blocked it. She needed one more pip to block it. And another massive swipe in Washington. Huge swipes there. As high tech goes back to the Midnight Rider after that huge swipe in Pennsylvania. We do not yet go to the ballot. West Virginia has not yet been entered. New Jersey has, but it was clashed back to 0. What a turn for Midnight Rider. Swiping Washington, swiping Pennsylvania. He locks in Colorado. Locked in Illinois does Lewinski. Iowa is swiped and locked by the Midnight Rider. Maine brought to the third. Nevada is swiped by Midnight Rider as that EV count is getting closer and closer, but a big extension of the lead there in New Jersey, but a swipe in New York. And that has to be it. A massive swipe in New York from Midnight Rider, taking away AA, and now has control of all 4 big 4 states as we go to the ballot. This is a crazy game because even though Marcos right now has the big 4 locked up, he has to quickly spend his money because the Big Lewinski's not out of it yet. If Lewinski can scrap together 9 EVs and somehow hold off elsewhere, Marcos needs to spend his money and spend his money wisely and quickly. What a crazy ending that we have such a tight matchup, even though Marcos now has control of all big four states in New York, California, Florida, and Texas. But Lewinski is not out of it yet. Connecticut, a swipe attempt from Lewinski doesn't go anywhere. It is blocked. Delaware, a swipe attempt blocked by Lewinski. Florida locked in there. Hawaii, is that a swipe? It is a swipe. Less and less likely now, and there's a swipe in Indiana. It was a long shot and a swipe in Kansas, but Lewinski, after losing New York, drained to nearly no bonuses besides Old South, and as you see, Midnight Rider able to quickly spend that a little over 1 million, able to swipe these big states like he just did Ohio there and Oregon to grow this lead. What an interesting and competitive championship matchup by these two competitors. So, I would like to congratulate and crown the first ever 270 competitive league cruiserweight champion, Marcos, aka Midnight Rider. After a rough start, losing some of those early battles, he smartly moves out to California and Texas and is able to get the 3 corners, which led him to eventually pick up New York as well, making it impossible for the big Lewinski to make too much noise there on the ballot. Congratulations, Marcos, Midnight Rider, our first ever 270 competitive league cruiserweight champion.